I'm on the last day of my first Disney cruise, and this is what I wish I knew before I boarded. Number 1, your room may feel like a jail cell. The first thing you learn the moment you walk into your stateroom is that this is not a hotel room. This is a cruise ship room. It's small, it's cramped, it makes you feel too big for the space you're in, and if you booked an interior room, it is exactly the feeling of walking into a tiny airless box with no window and no connection to the outside world. I didn't say coffin. I just toured one of these and I kept thinking, if I ever checked into a hotel room this small without a window, I would immediately change hotels. But on a cruise ship, the doors have already closed behind you. You're here. Also say that if I had these restrooms in a jail cell, I would feel very pampered. So it is a bit of an exaggeration, but if you're used to staying at resort hotels, this is not going to give you that experience unless you stay in one of the suites, in which case you can basically rent a vacation home on top of this ship. The air feels still the second you walk in the door. Not bad, just still, the kind of stillness that makes you want to open a window that doesn't exist. It's not a feeling Americans are used to. We live in houses and hotel rooms with vents blowing air like a wind tunnel. On a cruise ship, the ventilation is subtle, quiet, recirculated. So when you walk into your room after being outside, the air does not greet you. It sits there with you. You open a veranda door immediately if you have one, and luckily, we had one. But if you don't, you just sit in it. Which is like such a luxury to be able to have that balcony to sit on, or the veranda to sit on. But if you're in one of the rooms that is interior, without a window, and without a door that opens out giving you fresh sea air, you're really trapped in maybe something worse than a jail cell. It's more like a tomb. Then you get to the bathrooms. On the Wish class ships, including the Destiny, many rooms have the split bathroom layout. This is unique to Disney Cruise Line. One room has the toilet and sink, the other room has the shower and a second sink. Here we have two side-by-side bathrooms. 1, 2. This one has the toilet and this little sink and a few little shelves for toiletries. What I want to point out about the toilet itself is when the cover is up, it blocks the button to flush. So if you are a courtesy flusher, which I definitely am, and I recommend being if you're going to share a room this size with the bunk bed, 3 other people, then I think you probably want to do some courtesy flushing, and you have to do so by pulling the cover down a little bit against your back, awkwardly reaching behind you and pressing the button. So that's not ideal, and nobody ever told me. It is genuinely nice because it means you don't have to take a shower right after your spouse used the restroom for other purposes. It gives you flexibility, it gives you privacy, it feels like something that should have been standard everywhere for a long time. But it comes with its own hazard that no one warns you about: the step. There is a raised threshold to get into each bathroom. A small step, a few inches, but those inches matter. The first night, I tripped on it. I went up and I fell a little bit into it. Not terrible, but the next morning, I was barefoot and I stubbed my toe. So this is my warning to you. Don't do that. Where do I look? This is my warning to you. Is this how it is? I don't film in mirrors. Okay. It is the kind of layout that makes perfect sense for maritime engineering, but 0 sense for human feet that are used to Florida hotels. Interior rooms do not get the split bathroom. You get one standard room with a toilet and shower in the same space. No separation, no second sink, no airflow from a window because there is no window. And mentally, the lack of a window does something, at least to me, even when I just toured it for a couple minutes. Even though the sunlight can't sanitize anything in a real scientific way, my brain still wanted the option to open blinds and let light in. Now this is the bathroom or the restroom with the tub and the shower. Now this is a great tub. This is very good. Something that I didn't realize was that it opened in and also out. Just the idea of it made the space feel suffocating. None of this means the room is bad. The room works. The room does its job, but you are living in a space designed for efficiency and not comfort. You have to adjust to it. You have to learn it. And on that first night and that second morning, that little step into the bathroom was a very loud reminder that cruise ships follow rules you do not learn until your toe teaches them to you. Or someone else, like me.
Number 2, someone will get sick.
Here's what actually happens on a cruise ship. Somebody in your group is going to get seasick. Even if all of you walk on board thinking you won't, knowing you won't. Not because it's so dramatic how much the boat is moving around, not because the ship is rocking wildly, but because your body isn't used to this kind of movement. Listen, you don't see it coming. You feel it internally. For us, it was Miranda and Quincy, which completely shocked me because they're both cruising veterans. 2 people nobody expected. 2 people who handle everything at Disney World without flinching, and yet the second the ship settled into its rhythm, it hit them hard. That's how seasickness works sometimes. It chooses people you genuinely didn't have on your radar, and it usually happens faster than you think. The movement is subtle. You don't see the ship rocking. You don't feel like you're swaying, but your inner ear does. It notices the low constant motion under everything you do, and it doesn't matter how strong your stomach usually is. If your brain and your inner ear aren't giving you the same information, that mismatch catches up with you. And the environment doesn't help. Cabins use a mix of fresh and recycled air, so when you come back to the room, you're walking into the same air you left behind, unless you have that veranda, which again we did and saved my life. You're eating heavier food than you normally would at times you don't normally eat. You're walking long hallways that slowly drift under your feet. It's a lot of small things working together, and eventually it catches up to someone. Disney does provide seasickness medication for free, but nobody tells you that unless you ask. You have to go to guest services or the health center and request it. They hand it to you at no charge, and it's basically meclizine, the same thing as Bonine. It works for most people if you take it early enough, and yes, if someone in your group actually needs a sickness bag, guest services or the health center will give you one of those as well. The point is simple. Seasickness is just part of cruising. It doesn't mean your trip is ruined. It doesn't mean everyone is going to be miserable. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means one person in your group, at least, is going to need a minute. And once you know where to get the medication and what actually causes it, it becomes something you can deal with instead of something that blindsides you.
Number 3, the drill that ruins the fun.
You think you're walking onto this ship ready for a vacation, and then the very first thing they make you do is this drill that feels like a punishment. The muster drill, as it's called, is the opposite of what anyone wants to do on day 1. On day anything. It's loud, it's confusing, it's long, and it teaches you almost nothing. The experience starts when they start sending you to assigned lettered stations somewhere on the ship, and you have to physically go there, which means figuring out where that place is, which we're getting to how confusing cruise ships are geographically a little bit later, but plan ahead. And then you stand there and wait for someone to scan your key to the world, which is what they call the card keys, like you're checking into detention. And you stand there, too close to people you don't want to be touching this early in a cruise. You stand next to strangers. You stand next to your own family in a way that feels like everyone is stacked on top of each other. Emergencies happen on cruise ships, and it is important to know how to buckle your life preserver around you and figure out where to go if disaster strikes. But this is beyond that. And the whole time you're standing there thinking, why are we doing this like it's 1975? Why are we doing this like it's 1920? You can board planes and learn everything you need from a seatbelt demo. Here, you have to physically stand in a formation like it's some sort of ceremony nobody enjoys. You don't learn, you endure. Or at least I didn't.
Number 4, food fight.
Food on this ship is its own psychological game if you're plant-based like me or dealing with allergies. Not because the food is bad in any way, but because the information you're given about it is all over the place. You look at the menu and think, Disney, you've got this. You ask a simple question and then suddenly you're in a negotiation where no one is using the same definitions you are. Here's the truth. Every table service restaurant on this ship had exactly one plant-based entree. One. That's it. No variations, no surprises. The entree was always good. It did the job. What changed the experience every night were the appetizers. They offered 2 different plant-based options for appetizers in the restaurants that we went to, and I was able to order them both every night, and they were genuinely good. Dessert is where things started to get unpredictable. Nothing on the menu was listed as plant-based, not a single dessert option, but the servers took care of us anyway. Night 1, they brought me a raspberry sorbet that wasn't listed on the menu, and night 2, I got this plant-based gluten-free lemon cake that came out of nowhere. It was dense, it was also soft at the same time, and way more thoughtful than anything the menu would have led me to believe could exist. And the longer you're on the ship, the more your server learns you, which is awesome. They start anticipating you. They start shaping the experience around what you can actually eat. They start arranging different foods for you in advance because they know that you're coming. And then at Marceline, which is the buffet, someone finally told me the secret. Look for the cast members in white polo shirts. They're the ones trained to handle allergies and special diets. They know what's in everything. They will make you something safe, something good, and something you don't have to second guess. That information changed the entire trip for me, and I was told it at breakfast right before our last day. How is that not the first thing anyone tells you if you have any kind of allergies or special diet needs? Marceline itself is a huge buffet space with seemingly endless options, but almost none of the plant-based ones are obvious or even in the case. And then Festival of Foods is supposed to be the easy place to grab food fast, the everybody can get something zone, but if you're plant-based, it's kind of a minefield. There's a pizza, which was good, and there was a burger that was really good, and I had them both. And was I going to keep eating them every day? I mean, I guess I could have, but I chose to venture out. I went to Donald's Cantina expecting the same standard you get at Chipotle or Qdoba. At both of those places, the beans and the rice are naturally prepared plant-based. That's the baseline for this entire style of fast Mexican food. It's the expectation everywhere at this point. Well, not here. Every single bean option in Donald's Cantina is cooked in chicken broth. The rice is cooked the same way. There is meat or dairy hiding in almost everything that looks safe at first glance, and this isn't me being picky. This is the reality of what the ship considers normal. Festival of Foods and Marceline offer variety, but so much of it is built on hidden animal protein that the average person never even thinks about. And that's great. I mean, I love, my friends were eating so well. I was looking at their plates. But, you know, I stick to my diet. This is what I believe in. This is what's the best for my health. And I don't want to change that while I'm on a cruise. And I don't want to change that ethically. If your family or travel party has allergies or special dietary needs, this is the only thing you need to remember. When you go to Marceline, find the cast members in white polo shirts. They'll help you. They'll make it right. They will make something for you that you can trust. Nobody tells you this up front, but it changes everything the second you know.
Number 5, you'll need a translator for this ship.
The first thing you learn out here is that the ship does not speak the same language you do. You walk on board thinking you know how to give and receive directions. Well, you don't. Not here. Not on a cruise ship. Everything has an old nautical name, and if you don't learn it fast, you will not understand where anything is or how to get there. People start throwing words at you like bow and stern and port side and head, and you feel like you accidentally signed up for a class you didn't study for. You ask someone where something is, and they say forward, deck 5, port side, just past the head. And you have to stand there translating it in real time like you're decoding a riddle. The wild part is they think it's normal. What makes it harder is the ship itself. The geography of it is already confusing. So here is the cheat sheet nobody gives you on day 1, the language of the ship in human terms. Bow, the front of the ship. Stern, the back of the ship. Aft, another word for the back. Port, the left side when you're facing the front. Starboard, the right side when you're facing the front. Deck, a floor. Head, a bathroom. Why was I saying bathroom over? See, I still don't understand these words. Midship or mid, the middle of the ship. Okay, that one, I'll give it to them. That's pretty easy. Galley, the kitchen. That's my dad's best friend from high school's last name. Muster station, the place they send you during the safety drill. Gangway, the ramp you use to get on and off the ship. Folio, your running bill for everything you charge. Stateroom, your cabin. Bridge, where the ship is actually operated. Veranda, that's the most important one, your balcony if you got one. This is the vocabulary the crew uses for everything. They're not doing it to be cute or themed. This is the real operational language of the ship, and the moment you stop fighting it and start using it, the entire experience changes. You feel included. You stop translating in your head, you start understanding directions. You finally know which elevator bank takes you where. You stop ending up in the wrong hallway. I never stopped. I got lost up into the last day. Oh, I just have to be honest with you. I found it very confusing. You stop ending up in the wrong hallway wondering how this ship managed to trick you again for infinity times. You cannot navigate this ship with land language. You have to speak their vocabulary or the ship wins every time.
Number 6, get lost.
The ship tells you immediately that you're not in a normal building. Your brain tries to map it like a hotel because that's what we all know. Straight lines, matching floors, symmetry, logic. And the ship says no. It's built like a vertical city with no zoning laws. Nothing lines up. Nothing matches. Hallways twist around giant venues that cut through 2 decks. You get off one elevator and the layout makes sense. You get off that same elevator 1 deck higher and suddenly the ship looks like it's been rearranged while you weren't looking. So at some point you have to stop trying to force it into a neat rectangle. That was my first big lesson. The ship is not a rectangle. The ship is not even pretending to be a rectangle. The only way to survive the layout is to pick 3 anchors and move between them like it's the only map that exists. The Grand Hall, your deck number, and 1 elevator bank you trust. Forward, mid, or aft. Pick one and stay loyal. And once you accept that, here is how you make the ship finally behave for you. You break the ship into zones instead of floors. You stop fighting it. The Grand Hall becomes home base. Your deck number becomes your sense of gravity. Your chosen elevator bank becomes your compass. Everything else is optional. The Disney Cruise Line Navigator app becomes your friend. It has the deck plans, the schedule, the layout. Use it. Don't try to be a hero like Hercules. By the way, that show is really good and I'm not doing a review of it right now, but even if you just go on this ship for that show, it's worth it. All right, moving on. Every elevator bank has a ship diagram. Take a photo of it the second you get on board. That one picture will save you hours of wandering around asking, where the heck am I? Your cabin number usually starts with the deck number, and the numbers get bigger as you move towards the back of the ship. Remember the aft? Yeah, now I'm starting to pick it up now, almost a month after the cruise. It's not obvious at first, but once you see it, it becomes the breadcrumb trail you needed. Destiny is the same layout as Wish and Treasure, so if you watched a tour of either one of those ships, congratulations, you've already studied Destiny. It helps more than you think, and of course, we made our very own video all about the Destiny itself, which you can watch right here. Forward, mid, aft. That's it. If you know which direction you're moving, you've already won half the battle. Counting decks or halls? Well, you can deck the halls, but you don't want to count decks or halls. Whenever you get lost, go back to the Grand Hall. It's huge, it's bright, it's recognizable, it's the one place where your brain goes, okay, I know where I am again. Sometimes the carpet changes, sometimes the artwork shifts, sometimes the lighting changes from port to starboard. Once you start to notice, the ship stops feeling like a maze and starts feeling like an actual layout. Walk the route between your room and key locations on day 1. That path becomes your muscle memory for the rest of the trip. The truth is simple. You cannot navigate this ship by pretending it's a hotel like I tried to do. You have to learn its rules or you will lose.
Number 7, dock holiday.
There is a doctor on board, and that should make you feel safe. And for the basic stuff, it absolutely does. If someone in your group has motion sickness, dehydration, an infection, a fever, an allergic reaction, a stomach issue, the health center can handle all of that. They have a licensed physician. They have nurses. They're open daily and on call 24 hours a day for emergencies. You walk by and think, okay, if something goes wrong, there's a place to go. But here's the part no one says out loud. Once you're at sea, you can't leave. You cannot call an ambulance. You can't call an Uber. You cannot drive yourself to a hospital or even a pharmacy. You are on a moving ship in the middle of the ocean with the exact medical resources that happen to be on board. And if something gets serious enough, the reality changes fast. If you go to the health center with a problem the ship cannot treat, the doctor stabilizes you and immediately contacts their shoreline medical team. Together, they decide whether you can wait until the next port or whether you need to be taken off the ship sooner. And if it cannot wait, there are only 2 options. The ship diverts towards land, or a rescue authority sends a helicopter or a small boat to get you. If you need to be airlifted, it is exactly what you think it is. A helicopter hovers over the ship, a medic is lowered to the deck, you are strapped into a harness or stretcher and then lifted straight into the air. You don't go to your regular hospital or somewhere familiar, you go right up into the air. Then you go to the nearest capable medical facility on land, which might be in another country, with another language, another system, and none of the comfort you have at home. And here's the part that always surprises people. None of this is free. This isn't included as part of your cruise. The health center charges for every visit, every test, every medication, and every after-hours service. Those charges go directly onto your stateroom folio. And if you need to be evacuated, you are responsible for the costs of emergency transportation unless you have travel insurance that covers it. Your normal health insurance from home may not cover foreign hospitals and does not cover medvac from a ship. Without travel insurance, the financial side of this can be brutal. This is why cruise travel insurance matters more than anyone thinks. The insurance Disney offers includes emergency medical transportation. That is the benefit that covers the nighttime scenario you hope never happens, because no one plans to be the person the helicopter comes for. But if you are, you don't want to be the one person paying for that out of pocket in a foreign hospital. Once you understand how medical care actually works at sea, the entire environment feels different. The ocean stops being a backdrop and starts being a distance, a reminder of how far you are from the resources you take for granted on land. It's not fear, really. It's more like clarity. It's the moment you understand that safety at sea is not about whether the ship has a doctor. It's about whether you're prepared for the limits of what that doctor can do.
Number 8, is this stuff free?
Here's the part about money on a Disney cruise ship that messes with you. The ship is set up in a way that makes you forget you're even spending money at all. Nothing feels like a transaction. Nothing feels like you're buying anything. You're not tapping a credit card. You're not handing over cash. You are just walking around the ship, handing over your room key like it's a magic wand, and every one of those taps is hitting a credit card you don't see and never touch. Before the cruise, the app lets you add one payment method for the entire stateroom. That's it. And if you do nothing else, that one card becomes the card for every single person who holds a key card for that room. Drinks, souvenirs, spa treatments, bottled water, specialty coffees, specialty ice cream, photos, room service tips. All of it goes straight to one card, and the ship never tells you otherwise. They don't explain alternatives. They don't explain that you can change it. They just hand you the keys and let the system do whatever it wants. And here's the part nobody tells you until later. You can actually split charging privileges, but only once you're on board. You have to go to guest services. That is the one place where this can be done. You can have your key to the world card tied to your own credit card. Someone else in your room can have theirs tied to a different card. You can turn off charging entirely for kids. You can reassign charges. You can fix mistakes. You can completely customize who pays for what. And while we're talking about cards, let me shut down the biggest misconception right now. You can wear your Magic Band Plus on this ship, but you cannot use it to charge anything. not the Magic Band Plus you bought at Disney World, not the exact same thing they confusingly call Disney bands on board the ships. I should be doing a whole section on how confusing it is to have the exact same product that functions in the exact same way be called something different but only at sea. But anyway, none of them let you pay for anything. They can open your stateroom door, they can scan you into things, but all actual spending still has to go through your Key to the World card. And this matters because the danger of the room key system is how invisible spending feels. We're well trained to understand the repercussions of tapping our Magic Band Plus in a park, but this card feels like funny money. You don't even realize how much you're buying because you're not buying things the normal way. You're not watching numbers appear on a screen, you're not opening your wallet, you're not registering cost, you're just living your life. Picking up an ice cream treat at Edna a la Mode's, buying something cute in a shop, stopping by a bar because it's vacation and you can. And then it hits you. You have no idea what your folio total is until the last day. You could have an entire group, a family, coworkers, a couple of friends, all happily tapping their room keys all week thinking, this is fine, while everything is silently piling up on one person's card. And if you don't split the card at guest services, that one person is going to open their folio on the last morning and see every single thing everyone bought. All of it in one place, in one final charge on their card. That's when every group starts doing the same thing. Scrolling, pointing, asking who bought what, promising to Venmo each other when they get home. It's not unfair, it's not malicious, it's just the way the system works if you don't manually change it. There are things that really are included. Soft serve is unlimited. Soda, oh, you could drink your whole weight in soda if you want. For free. I mean, it's included. You paid for it. Rotational dining is included. Entertainment is included. The lounges are included, but not the drinks, just the experience. But if it's bottled, shaken or stirred, wearable or spa related, it's hitting that room folio. And unless you take 5 minutes at guest services to split the card assignments and give each person their own payment method, everything everyone buys will land on one unlucky credit card, and you won't suspect a single thing until the bill shows up.
Number 9, that European touch.
You don't realize how much German engineering shaped the ship until you've lived on it for a few days. You keep thinking you're on a Disney cruise, and you are, but then you start noticing these tiny details that make you feel like you accidentally checked into a very nice hotel in Berlin. The hinges, the metal work, the way the door closes, the sound of each latch. You'll know what I'm talking about when you go if you haven't already. The weight of the hardware, everything feels precise in a way that doesn't come from Florida or anywhere in the United States. It comes from Germany. Disney Destiny was built at Meyerwerft in Papenburg, which is one of the most famous shipyards in the world. And when you've been to Germany, you feel that connection immediately. You know that specific kind of overbuilt sturdiness. You know that perfection in the small details. The ship never squeaks. The doors don't rattle. The metal never feels cheap or hollow. Nothing gives. Every latch, every bolt, every hinge feels like it was engineered by someone who would rather quit than let anything be even slightly loose. And then you get to the thing that throws every American guest for a loop, the power slot. You walk into your stateroom and there is this little device by the door where you have to insert your Key to the World card to turn the room on.
This is a feature that's common all over Europe. I've stayed in hotels. I was very confused. I had to call down to the front desk the first time this happened to me because I thought the power was out. I couldn't turn on any of the lights. Nothing was working. And the person on the at the front desk was very kind and patient and said, "Sir, you have to put your key card in the little slot and it turns on the power for the entire room." Guess what? It's the same thing here on cruise ships. It's kind of ingenious because it makes sure that you turn all the lights in your room off before you leave, which saves power. Because obviously you're going to grab your key card, you need to get back in your room. But it's confusing if you've never had this experience, and I didn't realize this was a thing on cruise ships. So now that I've discovered it's a thing here as it is in Europe, I'm passing this information along to you. This is the little slot. It's right here by the front door. And we are going to take this card And you see immediately it turns on the lights. So if you get confused when you walk in and you're flipping light switches and thinking, oh great, there's no power in my room, I'm gonna have to move. In fact, all you have to do is stick your key card right here in this magical little slot.
Without the card, the lights won't work. The power doesn't run. The room goes to sleep. But here's the part that is very much Disney. They modified it. In Europe, when you pull the card out, everything dies. The outlets stop charging. Your devices stop. If you leave your room for 20 minutes, your phone is not charging during those 20 minutes. On this ship, however, the outlets stay alive. The lights go off, but your stuff keeps charging. It's the best version of the European system, designed so you don't have to come back to a dead phone after breakfast. And all of this matters for one big reason. The ship feels different from anything Disney has ever built on land. The rooms feel different. The hallways feel different. Even the bathrooms feel different. You can tell the people who constructed this ship were operating on a level of discipline and precision that is not themed. It is not a facade. It's baked into the ship. It's not magic, it's engineering, but it is magical. The quiet competence, the craftsmanship, the way every small detail works exactly the way it's supposed to. This is not an American cruise ship pretending to be something else. This is a German-built vessel that Disney layered its identity onto. You can feel the ship's heritage in every single room you walk into, even those interior rooms that don't have windows.
Number 10, is this floor actually moving or is it your imagination?
There is a moment on every cruise when the ship stops being a ship and becomes a feeling. It's not totally dramatic. It's not the stormy seas people imagine. It's the subtle, constant sway that lives in the background of every hallway, every restaurant, every cabin. And the second your body finally notices it, you cannot unnotice it. The movement becomes its own character, and it follows you everywhere. What makes it stranger is the sway is not always visible. You can be sitting perfectly still and everything in your view looks normal, but your inner ear is having an entirely different experience, as we talked about earlier. Your body says we are moving, even when your eyes insist nothing is happening. And for some people, that mismatch is interesting. And I'm kind of in that category. For others, though, that split between what you feel and what you see is the exact doorway into a very specific kind of panic, and unfortunately, I'm in that category as well. I experienced both. For me, it triggered something old. Derealization, that feeling of unreality that shows up right before or during a panic attack, that sensation where the world looks the same but it feels off, kind of like the upside down in Stranger Things. Like someone has quietly turned down the connection between you and your surroundings. And the thing about a cruise ship is that the environment is perfect for that feeling. Small room, endless ocean, motion that's gentle but constant. You don't have to be afraid of it for it to get inside your head. I was not even thinking about having anxiety. I was working, I was having fun with my coworkers and friends, and it somehow, uninvited, entered my brain. You lie in bed and the room feels like it's breathing. You walk down a hallway and your body adjusts you without your permission. You look out at the water and it's beautiful, but it's also infinite. And the more your brain tries to understand that infinity or comprehend what it means for you to be this tiny dot in the middle of it all, the more distance you feel between yourself and the world around you. That tiny shift, that half second of unreality feels exactly like the onset of a panic attack as I experienced them. It hits the same place in the nervous system. It wakes up the same pathways. And then when you finally get home, the second shock hits you. The land feels wrong. You're brushing your teeth and the floor pulls to the left. You're unloading groceries and your kitchen tilts. Your body learned the rhythm of the ocean and it doesn't want to let go now. And that sensation can mimic the tail end of a panic episode as well. You know you're safe, you know you're home, but your inner ear is telling a completely different story. None of this ruins the cruise. I mean, it could for some people, especially without warning. But it changes the way you inhabit the ship. It changes the way your brain processes the environment, and it changes the way you understand yourself inside the space that never stops moving. Number 11, what I didn't know about going to Castaway Cay.
Today is the day that I get to go explore Castaway Cay for the first time. Yes, my first Disney cruise. Yes, my first day at Castaway Cay. I don't know what I don't know. So come along on the adventure and let's figure it all out together. I'm going alone. Well, I'm here on Castaway Cay. The first thing that I've learned is that there is actually a tram that takes you to the adults only beach, but there's a transfer at Pelican Point. So I also learned there is an adults only beach. I'm choosing to go there because I want to see what the difference is between the adults only beach and the one for families. And we're gonna have that experience together. Oh, Pelican Point. See, but look how awesome it is. It looks like a retro van turned into a tram. Wait, I love that. This is actually really awesome. I didn't realize that it was like this, that it's big enough that you have to get on a tram, but I love it. We made it to Serenity Bay. The trip in total took 30 minutes. That includes the wait. Not terrible at all. Kind of fun, honestly, and wild. I don't think we're in Disney World anymore. Looks pretty people-y behind me, but I just heard someone say this is actually the least busy they've ever seen it when they've been here. So I think the beaches get pretty packed here, or at least this one does. We'll see what the other beaches are like, but I don't know. I don't go to the beach that often, so it doesn't seem... I don't know what to expect. It's really beautiful though. I also heard another guest say that usually this water is extremely calm. It is uncharacteristically choppy right now, and I am doing a water check with my own feet, and it is cold, but it's November, so I think that's probably normal. This area of the island, which is the one that most people go to, which is why I wanted to come here and see the experience that you'll likely have when you visit the island, really reminds me a lot of Typhoon Lagoon. I'm really getting those vibes, which is very familiar and kind of fun. It's like Typhoon Lagoon, except for it's real. Serenity Bay was relatively serene, but Pelican Point has so much more going on. I think if I came back to this island, I would prioritize coming to Pelican Point instead of Serenity Bay, even though I will probably only ever be here with other adults, just because this is where all the action is. It's fun. It seems kind of like a water park, but it's a real beach in the Bahamas. If you made it to the end, go ahead and put this password in the comments below, and while you're down there, hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when myself or one of my friends comes out with a new video, something that we do all week. See you next time. Why? Because we're serious about fun. Bye.